Rewind. This is Dope Nostalgia.
Hey, guess what? It's episode 253. This is the Dope Nostalgia podcast, and I am your host, Naomi. Today's special guest is a UK sensation who had a huge hit in the 90s with the song Sleeping Satellite, Tasmin Archer, the one and only, right here today on the show. Let me tell you a little bit more information about her career straight from her biography at tasminarcher.com.
Wikipedia moment.
Please bear in mind that Wikipedia can be edited by anyone at any time. If I am reading you the artist's bio, then you know it's information straight from the source.
Embracing a broad range of musical styles, British singer-songwriter Tasmin Archer's soulfully silky voice has graced a strong catalog of songs with an eclectic mix of themes since the 1990s. Archer first came to public attention in 1992 with the UK chart topper and worldwide hit Sleeping Satellite, taken from the platinum debut album Great Expectations. 3 further singles from the album were top 30 hits in the UK. She received a Brit Award in 1993 and was nominated in 2 further categories the same year. Archer also won an RSH Gold Award in Germany and was nominated in the Best Alternative Artist category for an MTV Award in the US. Shipbuilding, an EP of 4 Elvis Costello covers, was released in early 94 and was followed in 1996 by the more introspective, critically acclaimed album Bloom. On, the third Tasmin Archer solo studio album was released independently on Quiver Disc in 2006. A new album, A Cauldron of Random Notes, is scheduled for release in September 2025. Tasmin Archer was born in Bradford, England on August 3, 1963. On leaving school, she held various jobs from sewing machine operator to clerk typist and performed with various local bands, mainly singing backing vocals. In the late 80s, Archer teamed up with longtime partner John Hughes and friend John Beck for a songwriting recording project at Flexible Response Studios in Bradford, where Hughes had a small pre-production studio. After writing and recording an extensive collection of demos, including most of the songs that would appear on the album Great Expectations, the trio, now called The Archers, signed up with manager Ian McAndrew at Wildlife Entertainment. In 1990, a publishing contract with Virgin Music was agreed, followed shortly after by a recording contract with EMI. The popular BBC Radio 4 program of the same name in the UK meant that The Archers wasn't a suitable name to release under, so it was decided to have Tasmin Archer as the artist on releases. After a few exploratory recording sessions with various producers, the debut album recording commenced with Julian Mendelsohn and Paul Wickens as co-producers. Sessions started in London at Moulin Rouge Studios, but moved to Sarm West, where the bulk of the recording and mixing took place. After co-producing 4 tracks, Wicks was unable to continue his production role as he had commitments with Paul McCartney, and the gap he left was filled by American musician Peter Kay. Wicks did, however, continue to contribute as a musician on further tracks. The Shipbuilding EP was also recorded at Sarm West and produced by Julian Mendelsohn. After the release of Great Expectations and following the first UK tour, John Beck decided to leave the setup to pursue other musical avenues. Archer and Hughes continue to work together to the present day. The songs for Bloom were written by Archer and Hughes at the end of 1993 and the first half of 94. They had a more introspective vibe and examined, often from an abstract angle, both good and bad personal experiences from the somewhat manic media exposure that followed the release and promotion of the first album. Around 2010, with life priorities changing and musical projects diversifying, Archer and Hughes had come to the reluctant conclusion that they were unlikely to release any more Tasmin Archer albums. Nevertheless, between other commitments, they continued to write songs and record demos. During the pandemic, with time to take stock, a large catalog of unreleased songs was suddenly demanding attention, and recording was then planned. Some of these have evolved into the album, A Cauldron of Random Notes, and others will populate a follow-up album and EPs that are already in the pipeline. After a long hiatus, Tasmin Archer releases will recommence in June 2025 with Vibration of Life, the first of 3 singles planned from the album. That single you can find now out on all your streaming services. You can check out the video on YouTube. And welcome now to the show. For the first time ever, this is Tasmin Archer. Well, we'll kick things off. I'm happy to have the incredible Tasmin Archer on Dope Nostalgia. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
We're going to be talking about your upcoming album, A Cauldron of Random Notes, and the new single too. But first, I'd like to dive back in time a little bit. And who were your musical heroes growing up?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I'm one of a family of, well, I'm the youngest out of four children. And growing up, I think I got a lot of influences coming from their musical tastes. My sister is the eldest. She used to like funk and soul and things like that. And then my other brother, he liked things like Kate Bush and ABBA. And my other brother, which is 1 year older than me, so we're the closest in the taste or the era of music that we were listening to at that time. But he was rather more interested in punk, Sex Pistols and the Smiths, and he liked Elvis Costello and people like that, and a lot of reggae and classical. His musical taste was quite diverse. And I got a lot of influences from all my family, really, even my mum and dad. I mean, they liked reggae and they liked country and western, and so yeah, so growing up, I had so many influences that and so many different genres of music that I wasn't really focused on one particular type of music or one particular artist, but there was plenty of artists that I played a lot of their music in my room when I was younger. And my mother, I remember she gave me an album by an artist called Joe Trafford, I think her name is Joe Trafford, I think. And I used to play her album a lot in my bedroom, and I used to have it on repeat. She was probably back in the 50s considered a pop artist, if you like, in those days. And when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of movies on TV that had a lot of music in it, with a lot of sort of string arrangements, beautiful string arrangements. You'd have Cole Porter type of music in a film and things like this. So I I loved that, and she was that kind of a singer, and she had a very pure sounding voice, and I learned a lot from her by just listening to her and singing with her and trying to get sort of hone my voice into understanding how where to breathe and how to get the tones that I wanted to get and things like that. And so I went from extreme to from Joe Strafford to um, Elvis Costello to the Beatles to Police or reggae artists, all kinds of reggae artists, to soul and R&B, everything. And I used to listen very closely and try to get my voice to be as tuneful and as toneful, if you like, as
Mm-hmm.
theirs. And and I was quite rather shy when I was younger, so I didn't let people hear me singing. I used to sing very, very quietly. And I'd spend most of my time in my room making little cassette tapes, recording myself doing just perhaps maybe mimicking somebody else or actually just writing a new little song that I'd made myself. And I used to keep it in a little briefcase under my bed so that nobody could find it because I was quite shy about letting people hear my voice because hearing your own voice when you've recorded something and you play it back, and the first time I heard it, I was thinking, oh my gosh, do I sound like that? And it's quite a shock, isn't it, really? I think if you hear
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, and so when I was younger, my mum and dad got a little small cassette tape recorder, and it used to have a microphone with it, and that was back in the 70s or something like that. And
Yeah.
I grabbed hold of that and I started to record myself singing and things like this. So there was a lot of different people. There was Brooke Benton. There was a lot of different people I learned to sing music from. So I didn't really have like a hero or a favorite because I used to listen to a lot of radio. Luxembourg and people like that at stations like that. And I used to kind of just hear so much music and so diverse in its sort of emotion and range and flavor and everything. So it's hard for me to kind of pick out just one or two. There's just so many.
But that's just the beautiful music education. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
makes a well-rounded artist is having so many different pools to draw from. I love
Yeah,
that.
I do. I still do. I mean, I just think music is music. And if it speaks to my soul and if it has the kind of sound quality that I love, then I just kind of go and and think, well, I'm going to listen to that and I'm going to get more of that. And yeah, just soak it all up, really.
I love that. Now, you mentioned that you were shy when you were a kid and making these recordings for yourself to, get yourself in, I guess probably helps you to get stronger, right? As a
Yeah,
vocalist. What
yeah.
what drove you to overcome the shyness and start singing out in public?
Yeah, well, that started when I was at school, I think, and I was still very shy at school of singing in public and letting people hear me on my own singing, if you like. And
Hmm.
so when at school they usually ask the kids to take part in musicals and things like that. And sometimes you have to do it. You have to, as a whole class, you have to get involved in it. And I suppose that kind of push helped me. Even though I only was doing like the chorus line, being in the background. I never actually sung the lead vocals or anything like that. I was too shy for that, but that was another little step that I took to get my confidence, if you like. And it grew from there. When I left school, I went to work in a sewing machinist factory and I joined a band and got a little bit more sociable in that respect. And I was a backing singer for a band, and they were out doing shows and gigs in the evening. So after work, I'd just go and do a show wherever they were going in the country. Um, so I learned a lot from being being a backing vocalist in a band and actually performing live in front of how many people it was. It wasn't a vast amount of people, but it just helped me come out of my shell. And from there I kept moving along to do different things with different bands, and eventually I found myself being the lead singer in a band, and it didn't seem like a big jump because they were all very mini steps towards doing that. So
Mm.
that's how it happened.
I think backup singing is fun because harmonies are fun.
Yes, they are very. And I
Yeah.
learned a lot from being in a band by the lead singer in the band used to take me to one side and he'd teach me the harmony that I'd have to perform with him, and doing it live like that made it a lot more. I got my ear into understanding how harmonies work, and I
Mm.
could instantly then feel where the harmony was. Yeah, it was a good learning experience, and I grew every step of the way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And your voice is so clear and pure. Like your tone is very incredible. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, I noticed when in the song Sleeping Satellite, one thing I like that's a little different too is when on the lines greatest adventure and
Yeah.
greatest treasure, you get that
Yeah.
rasp in there. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Oh, because I listened to a lot of rock singers at that time, and I think there was people like Aerosmith, who I love his voice, and there was a lot of people that even Elvis Costello had an edge to it, and I like the edge to the voice now and again if you want to have that flavor in it.
Mm,
I also like kind of a smoother, mellow sound, maybe like Karen Carpenter or something like that.
hmm.
And those are the types of tones that I used to listen to and think, I want to be able to do that myself in something that's original, that's coming from me. I never really wanted to ever be just a singer who somebody wrote for and I delivered it that way. I felt I had things to say, and so I just wanted to express myself through that.
That's wonderful. Yeah. One thing I also noticed about that song, Sleeping Satellite, is the organ solo,
Yeah.
because organ solos aren't that common in pop
No,
music.
no. I think that actually was an idea from between them. It was John Hughes and John Beck that worked on that. And I think John Hughes in particular has much more of an ear for that style of organ because I think probably his era was a lot of Led Zeppelin and perhaps a lot of the prog rock
The
type bands.
Doors used it a lot, right?
Yeah. And so that kind of a thing was probably in his mind to have that and he shaped it to be developed in that way.
Mm.
Yeah. That was a really a good, ingenious kind of idea to put it in the song.
How did the concept for the video come together?
Well, that concept I think probably was mainly down to the guy who directed the video. That was Lawrence Dunmore,
Mm.
and he was the guy also that did the album cover sleeve for the Great Expectations album.
Mm.
And he had an idea, but I never really knew what the concept would totally look like. I knew it was going to be quite sort of Dickensian looking because I was wearing that kind of clothing before anything, because I was very sort of attracted to the Great Expectations film and the book by
Mm.
Charles Dickens. And so I sort of loved that kind of a look. And I liked all the fob watches and the shirts, the way they used to kind of peek out on underneath the jackets. I thought they looked pretty smart and cool. So that's what I wanted to present myself as, fashion wise.
It's a
It's a
very
look. Yeah.
aesthetically gorgeous video. Like that's a really cool look.
Yeah, and when I walked on the set of the video when we first arrived and it was all set up, I just thought it was so magical. It was just unbelievable what
Hmm.
they'd done. And it was very kind of obviously it works in a very sort of imaginative way to think about it in terms of how the song it relates to being adventurous and exploring things and all the chemical paraphernalia that's around the set and all the sort of the kind of scientific vibe that you get as well on the set because it looks very there's an old fella in the corner and he looks like a very sort of wise and scientific type minded exploration type fella that and so the
Yeah.
whole thing is very sort of dream wide it's fantasy but it's also based on the song itself which is how we explored and went to the moon you
Mm.
know and how that came about how people's imagination had thought of things of how to get there you know it's kind of unreal.
The lyrics are fantastic. The song is still popular on the radio today. Kim Wilde covered it in
Yeah,
2011.
yeah,
So
yeah,
how
I
does
know.
it how does it feel when someone pays homage to your track like that?
Well, I think first of all, I'm just very, very touched by it because I don't think in terms of people actually. Um, it's different when when you're doing other people's covering other people's songs because
Mm.
I loved Elvis Costello's music, and so I suppose people who love your music feel the same way when you love somebody else's music. So yes, it's an honor, really. It really is an
Mhm.
honor.
Yeah, you did a whole cover EP of Elvis's work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It was in between the time when we'd finished Great Expectations and we'd been promoting and doing all kinds. And so it had now come to the time where we had to think about doing a second album. And we hadn't had time when we were on the road doing all these interviews and performances and God knows what else that we were doing.
Mm.
Um, it was difficult to sit down and write. whilst you're on the road, and it wasn't something I was accustomed to being able to do, just to shut off and have the energy to then put into writing new music. So EMI actually thought, oh, well, we need to keep you in the public eye. We need to keep that momentum going. So how about we do something like an EP of some songs that you like, of an
Mm.
artist that you like? And that's how that came about. And I didn't really want to do any covers. I was thinking very much against it because most of my earlier years were in a band where they were covering other people's music, and
Yeah.
I just didn't want to go there at that time. That's not where my mind was. But I could understand that, and it was a pressure. So we thought, well, might as well, and it'd be fun to actually do something by an artist that I really like. So, and
Yeah.
I was always singing to it when I was listening to his music. So I thought, well, I'll pick um, the ones that I like. And that's how that came about. It was just four tracks that I liked. There were many more, but I couldn't I couldn't pick them all.
Oh, Lords of the New Church.
Mhm.
I watched that video yesterday in Old Vegas. That song has a fantastic bridge to it. It really
Yeah,
does.
yeah. You're talking about the feast and the fly, that bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it's great.
Yeah, that song is about the modern politician of that time, and we like to look at things we observe in humanity and things that are going down at that specific time. Because as an artist, you've got to reflect the times that you're living in. I think it's a it's just something you have to do just to be authentic. And we were looking at things to do with politics and thinking about how these things are played out,
Mm.
and that's what we came up with, Lord's New Church. Um, we when we were singing, when we came up with the first ideas, the kernel of the first ideas, it was just um, save us from the Lords of the New Church. It was just there was I just have like words or things that just come to me. I don't know where they come from. I have no idea half of the
Mm.
time. And to keep things going, I will just sing any line or any vowel sound that I can think of just to keep the whole momentum going when we're actually writing. Um,
Mm.
Sometimes we write away from each other, but more so at that time, we were actually getting ideas coming together and then going away and working on certain things, working on the bridge and coming back with an idea. And I had a melody um, in my mind for the bridge. And so we thought, well, let's just try this and chuck things into the pot and see what comes out. That's how we
Hmm.
worked at that time. We still do.
It's a great way to write, to
Mm.
like figure out your vocal melody and then fill in the words.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to keep the thing going. Um,
Hmm.
and sometimes you'll get the idea of perhaps a different part of the song later on, as you've
Yeah.
developed maybe the real body of the song, and then you think, oh, we could put this in there somewhere. Like with Ariane, we actually we were in the studio recording a lot of the songs that were on Great Expectations album, and that actually came up there. So the inspiration came whilst we were in the studio, and I
Mm.
had a melody idea, and I said, "What do you think about this?" And we developed it and just recorded it, really.
Oh, it's magical how that happens.
Yeah. You can't put your finger on it, can you really?
No.
Sometimes you
No.
can have an idea of a phrase somebody said something, a line that someone said, and that musically and that line will kind of transform itself into a melody and
Yeah.
just quite easily. It's as if somebody else has actually sung it and all they've done is spoken it, the words.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You can come up with something just like that and
Yeah.
in 15 minutes, half an hour, have a song constructed, but then some days just nothing's coming,
That's
you know?
right. Nothing's coming. You can turn up and sometimes it doesn't come. I mean, it'll most of the time you'll get something, but you're not always that enamored by it, feeling that it's anything wonderful. And a lot of times I'll make up lines or a little bit of a short idea and think and leave it and perhaps play it to them later on, and they say, well, that's really good. Let's develop that. And I'm thinking, well, I didn't have that. Wow, yeah, this is it. This is great. I didn't get that. I just kind of like got, yeah, it's all right. But,
You were like, I don't know. And then someone's
okay,
like,
it's okay.
amazing.
Yeah, I sometimes get a little bit too picky and think, well, it's got to have this thing where fireworks are going off as soon as you've heard it and you've done it. As soon as you've come up with the idea, it's got to have that kind of feeling. But not always. It's not always like that. Sometimes it's just maybe an ingredient that you need that's in there that'll make it work again, or it'll give it that fire. Yeah.
I blame you for the moonlit sky and the dream that died with the eagle's flight. I blame you for the moonlit nights when I wonder why are the seas still dry. Don't blame me, sleeping satellite. Did we fly to the moon too soon? Did we squander the chance in the rush of the race? The reason we chase is lost in romance, and still we try to justify the waits for a taste of man's greatest adventure. Whoa. I blame you for the moonlit sky and the dream that died with the eagle's flight. I blame you for the moonlit night.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hello, listeners. It has been such an experience doing this show for the last 5+ years, but it gets expensive. If you didn't know, there's a lot of costs that go into making a podcast. That's why we have our Patreon page, patreon.com/dope nostalgia. That's where you can go and subscribe, get all the extra details, bonus videos, and early podcast release for as little as $1 a month. Please subscribe today and help support one of your favorite podcasts.
Yo, this is Scotty G.
I'm DJ T,
I'm HB.
and
we
you're
on the-
listening to Dope Nostalgia Podcast. Oh,
Yeah, dope nostalgia. Y'all don't get it? Y'all got it now. And be dope, because it's nostalgeristic.
Go get that, go watch that, do whatever you need to do. Dope nostalgia. Funk Bees, Funky Bunch, world famous Funky Bunch. There
we're
it
all
is.
famous Funky Bunch because testing the mic's a pleasure. Now
Jeez, booty.
nostalgia. Oh,
What's up, everyone? This is Eric, and I'm one of the hosts of Somewhere in Time podcast. Somewhere in Time is a podcast that takes a look back at hard rock and metal albums celebrating milestone anniversaries. Join me, Tim, Joe, and Keith as we travel back to the 90s, 80s, and 70s and revisit albums we grew up with, but also albums that we may have missed or our guests may have recommended. A new episode of our podcast is released every 2 weeks and can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're also on YouTube at Somewhere in Time Podcast. Visit somewhereintimepodcast.com to learn more about our podcast. All of our episodes are streaming here, dating back to 2018, as well as links to our Facebook and Instagram pages. We have a lot of love for all things rock and metal, so give us a listen and get caught somewhere in time.
Fresh breath, that's close up. White teeth, that's close up. When you're close up, that's when close up counts. White teeth and a fresh mouth. Do right protection and a mouthwash too. Do it for me and I'll do it for you. One love.
You won the Brit Award for Breakthrough British Act in 1993,
Yeah.
and huge accomplishment. Is it true that you joked that you kept your award in the kitchen cupboard and used it for cracking nuts and tenderizing steak?
Yeah, I was just being flippant. At the time, I was asked, I was just, honestly, I was just asked so many times, where do you keep it? La, la, la. And I said, well, and to be honest, I do keep it out now, but I don't keep it in a place where everybody can see it. And I
Mm.
just, I guess I'm just not that type of person. I don't know what it is, why some people have, we have like, platinum discs and things like that, but you give them to your parents and they put them up on the wall. And you never put them up. I mean, we don't put them up on the wall. That's not really, it's not really nice, but it's just one of
Hey,
those things. I
it's
like to
different for everybody.
yeah, I like to perhaps keep grounded, and it helps me keep
Yeah,
grounded that I don't have all these things around me that go, oh, look what I won, oh, look at because that's all back then, and I like to live now, and I like to push on and think for the future, and that's
that's
the way I think
fantastic.
about
Yeah.
it. I don't know if that's everybody, not everybody's like that, but that's. I mean, if I was like that, then I would be like that, but I can't even think why I'm like that. So yeah.
No, it totally makes sense. And that's just some people just move forward and, keep growing from there and not fixated on the past. So I understand.
Yeah, it's funny because I've always been the type of person that when I've done like say we've done a thing, we've recorded something and maybe it's out and everybody's hearing it, I will listen to it again and again and again and again just to make sure that there's something that I can do better next time. Even though
Mm.
it's already done, it's done and dusted, it's out there, I still listen and think, I could have done that better, I could have done this, I could have done that,
Does that
which
make
is
it hard to let your songs go in
no,
the
no, I let
recording
them
process?
go. I let them go. I get to a place where I let them go, but I always think to myself, I'm going to come back and listen to it because I want to make sure that there's something that I can do better next time, or I can, if I feel that, oh yes, I could have done that a bit better, but you can't be there you can't do
Mm.
it the whole, if you get too picky, you'd be there and nothing would be released and nothing would be out there. So you have to let it go eventually. But I like
Yeah.
to learn from it, if you know what I mean. So yeah,
Or you can take it and do something different with it in your live
that's right.
performance.
Yeah, that's right. In the live performances, I used to like to do the live performances best because I felt as if because I was in the moment, I felt as if I could do it better in the moment. So performing live was something that I felt I always enjoyed doing because I knew that, oh wow, I can put this emotion into it. I can do this, I can do that,
Mm.
It was just, and I always felt I sounded better live. I don't know. I don't think I probably didn't, but I always felt in my mind I sound better live. I sound better than the record.
Mm.
That's a strange way to think, but it is just, yeah, it's just the way I was thinking. My mind was like that at the time. So yeah.
It probably feels better singing live that way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that perhaps that's what it is. It's the
Yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
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 Because the communication with the audience in front of you, you're not just singing to a studio booth, you know?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Thank you for clearing that up. That's exactly what it is. That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
I know we like to look forward, but this is also a nostalgia podcast, so we do talk
Yeah.
about all kinds of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and what shows did you enjoy visiting the most? Like, I know you were on Top of the Pops and a lot of these great talk shows. Which shows did you enjoy visiting, and who are some of your favorite hosts?
I think Jules Holland, for one, that comes to mind. Jules Holland, little Jules Holland, because the first time we went on there, that was a very, um, it was an enjoyable experience because it was a show that I had watched along with Top of the Pops as well. I'd watched that when I was very younger, a lot younger, and um, and I think that being on that show was great because everything you perform live. Top of the Pops, you have no choice but, well, at least the musicians have no choice at that time. They couldn't perform live. I
Mm-hmm.
always sung live on there, but the musicians couldn't because it wasn't set up that way. And that's the way
Yeah.
it was. But on Jules Holland, it was refreshing because everybody could play live. And that's what I loved about it and the atmosphere about it all. It was just quite exciting to be on there and knowing that you were going to perform your music, your own music on there. Yeah, it was special. It was a special time.
When the album Bloom came out, what was your favorite track? And I like to hear the deep cuts, the songs
Yeah,
that weren't singles. What did you
yeah.
enjoy the most off Bloom?
I think I did enjoy One More Good Night with the Boys purely because I like the feel of that track. And I also think that it's a track that welcomes everybody in, if you
Mm.
like, to listen to it. I can't explain it any other way. It just has um it is more commercial, I guess. It's the more commercial one off the album. And I believe that's probably why we all came to the decision to release that one as the first single. Um, but I think I like performing Breaking My Back. And I think I did actually, I don't know if I performed that on Jules Holland because we were invited back on Jules Holland to perform a couple of songs. I think maybe that one, or it could have been I Like It So because I like that one as well. So, because it reminds me of things like ABBA, kind of that I kind of feel, which I like, and it also has a kind of a soul feel to it as well. Um, so I like that one. I like to perform that one live.
Over a mountain wave of splendor, we remember inside a fragile web of longing, we stumble into everything like fools and we are. The perfect future's planned, much more than we can stand. When you look right through me, I try to smile and you think it shows. I like it so. When the strength comes to me, and the time's the time for you to go. I like it, I like it, I like it so. I like it so.
I'll play a clip of it on the show as
Yeah,
well as the new single too. Yeah.
yeah. Thank
Which,
you.
which is exciting because the new single, Vibration of Life, it's such a
Yes.
catchy song with such a solid message.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
When we first started out with that song, we to get the ideas for the song, all I had really was a chant. It sounded very tribal.
Mm.
I had layers of harmonies, and to me, it sounded really quite tribal and quite bluesy when I first come up with the idea. Um, and obviously it evolved um, to have the lyrics in it and everything. And the other parts of the song came a bit later actually because I had another idea for parts of the song and I thought, oh, that might work really well together. Those two bits might work really well. The vibration of life part and
Mm.
the facts, when all the facts reveal, it could work together. So we had to figure out how you could get from one part of the song into the next. And so the longer vocal melody takes it into the next bit, which I think a lot of old-fashioned type singers used to do quite well back in the day. Like I say, like Stratford and people like that, the songs that they used to write back then used to have this introduction type of melody, and then the melody would go off into the main song. I used to hear people like Johnny Mathis used to do things like that in a song like I don't know, it'd start off with an introduction. Even like Somewhere Over the Rainbow had a little bit at the beginning that was like a story, telling a story before the main melody came in.
Yeah.
So I had that idea to kind of do that and link them all together. And the track keeps building and building and building till it comes to the right at the end where it has more of a bluesy type thing of an ad lib at the end, and then there's this very moody bit right at the end of it, or a coming down from the big lift at the end, and yeah, it was epic how we were thinking about it.
Yeah.
We share the good and the bad. We share the happy and sad. We share the day and the night. We share vibration of life. We share the song and the dance. We share the thrill of romance. We share the black and the white. We share vibration of life. When all the facts reveal, you see what's for real. When all the facts reveal. When all the facts reveal, you see what's for real. When all the facts reveal. When all the facts reveal. We share the sun and the rain. We share the joy and the pain. We share the dark and the light. We share vibration of life. We share the laughter and tears. We share the hope and the fears. We share the lows and the highs. We share vibration of life. We share the real and the fake. We share the world that we make. We share the wrong and the right. We share vibration of life.
And well, the album title, A Cauldron of Random Notes, is
Yes.
fantastic. And
Thank you.
I know that you've been
That was
working on the album for a long
John's
time.
idea.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I missed that part.
That was John's idea to the album title,
Yeah.
and purely because a cauldron is a vessel, and we're thinking of ourselves as a vessel with notes and ideas and notes on life and that kind of thing that are contained within that vessel. And so it's not just musical notes, a cauldron of notes. It's life notes, things that we've observed, things that we have in ourselves that are personal, that are coming up. So it's something bubbling away and wanting to come out. And so it fit the whole vibe of the tracks that we had chosen for this album. So yeah, it was just a good thing that came from wherever.
Were you doing writing and everything for this during COVID, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
during COVID, because before COVID, we'd actually made our decision that we weren't going to really release any more Tasmin Archer music. After On, which we'd released independently, for the first album that we'd released independently since leaving EMI. And that was really a steep learning curve for us. And I think that probably we got a little bit sort of, maybe it didn't do the great things that Great Expectations did. It didn't do what Bloom did. We didn't have the backing. We didn't have the push. There was just John and I doing everything and learning everything as we went to try and release this album, the album On. So it was quite difficult for us at the time. And yeah, it was something that we thought, well, perhaps we'd just not bother releasing any more Tasmin Archer music. And we kind of, at that time, we were diversifying and going in other areas media-wise. We were thinking of trying to get music into film. And so we were learning about all of that end of it. And yeah, so we didn't even have any intention of releasing any music. But during COVID, we kind of like took stock because we'd never stopped writing from the time we'd finished on until the time we started to think, well, we'll make a plan to start finishing these songs off because we took stock and we saw that there were hundreds and hundreds of songs that we'd written, all in various stages of completion, and we just thought, well, these aren't bad. These aren't bad at all. Let's just have a look at them. So we chose 30 and set out a plan to kind of work on those and see how we felt. We didn't put any pressure on ourselves. We didn't think, oh, we're going to release at that time. We just thought it'd be a shame not to just finish them. It was as simple as that. So there was no pressure. We didn't think, oh, we have to have this out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's how we worked it. And we finished 30, and out of those 30, we collated the rest of the songs, or the songs for this album, A Cauldron of Random Notes, which work really well because the blend is really good. There's just so many flavors in there. I mean, there are so many different emotions in there. There's so many different genre feels in there. Within even just one song, there's just lots of different things happening in the mix. So, yeah. And yeah, it was just during the COVID, we just had time and it was quiet, and I think everything had slowed down, and I guess we just give ourselves space and permission to just do what we want.
To create. That's the
Yeah,
silver lining of COVID, is that a lot of people created.
yeah, yeah, that is correct. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Are there any collaborations that you'd like to make that you haven't?
Um, Not really, no. I collaborate with my partner, and so it's just
Yeah.
we've got so much we want to say and so much we want to get finished that it's difficult to find space in your own mind and things to think about looking outward to go to collaborate with somebody else. Maybe somewhere down in the future, along the line in the future. But right now, there's just so much. Even now, we've got things in the pipeline that are coming in quick succession after this album. So there'll be like another couple of albums and EPs and things like that. So yeah, I don't really have that in my mind at the moment of collaborating with anyone.
But I love that you have so much ready to go,
Yeah,
like it's so much to look forward to.
yeah, yeah. We've got a lot of different things coming now, so very happy about that. Very happy.
And the album comes out in September.
It does, yeah. It comes out in September, but you can go to our website, which is tasminarcher.com, and pre-save the album. Also, you can go to our website and go follow the links to the shop and things like that, and you'll be entered into a competition to win one of two hand-painted tambourines, which are really nice, really nice. I would want one myself, but I can't keep them. Yeah, and I'll be signing them for the winners. So, if you want to get along and do that. But yeah, go
What
to
a
our
unique,
website.
what a unique gift. I love that.
Yeah, I do as well. It's something I would have liked as well. So, yeah, very nice they are as well.
Before I wrap things up, I'll ask you a few other like retro questions.
Yeah,
Um, did you read any magazines in the 90s, and which ones did you like to read the most?
I really wasn't a magazine reader.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No. Um, they're not really. There was Q magazine now back then, and
Mm.
there was all kinds. I mean, I was on the front of Q magazine along with Bob Dylan, so I was really happy about that.
That's huge.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I just I forget about half these things because, you just don't think about them until somebody brings them up.
Hmm.
There's Q magazines, there was all kinds of different magazines back then, but I didn't really look at them. I didn't really look at them at that time. I really wasn't a magazine type person, really.
Yeah.
Uh, no.
Maybe if you're
So
sitting in the doctor's office and you there's one to
I
read
don't
there.
even look at magazines in the doctor's office. I mean, I don't even go to the doctor's. I can't tell you. It may be about 30 years since I've ever seen my doctor.
Wow.
I know. I know. I know. I don't even know who he is anymore. So I've no idea. I've no idea who he is.
Do you find you're tech savvy? Like, were you using the internet back in the 90s when it first
I'm
came
not
out?
tech savvy. No,
Yeah.
no way am I tech savvy. My
No.
partner, longtime partner and co-writing partner, John Hughes, very, very tech savvy.
Mm,
And anything that I learn from to how to use things technically is
mm,
down to the fact that he's taught me it. That's it. Basically, he's very good at that kind of thing. Um, he's got um, many strings to his bow. He's very good technically minded, and he's good artistically as well, and
mm,
all of the songs that we've recorded independently, um, he has mixed and mastered and done all of that good stuff. So he's got that kind of a acumen. It just comes a lot easier to him to be able to do some things like that.
mhm.
Although I do know more than I ever would have known if I wasn't working so closely with
Yeah.
somebody like that. Yeah.
What other hobbies do you have besides music?
Um, I like to read. I like to read books. A lot of the books that I read are all about spiritual matters and things like that. That's the main thing, or things that are to do with science or things that are being developed. And
Mm,
um, I'm not really into reading people's autobiographies and things like that. I'm more interested in learning about the human condition and the human spirit and anything to do with the soul um, and food as well. I like to look at how nutrition helps people and um, nature. I like to go for walks and things like this. And
mm.
I like animals. I love animals. I can't have one at the moment.
Yeah.
I used to have a little border collie. She's passed away a long time ago now.
Oh,
But that was my little buddy. And
yeah.
and yeah, what else? Yeah, football. Football. I got
Ah,
involved with being a fan of football due to my partner. He obviously was a football fan since he was very, very small. Not me. When I was younger, people in my family really they watched football and they watched sports on TV, but they didn't go to games, they didn't go to matches, they didn't do any of that. That
mm,
costs money, and that's
yeah.
not something that we had. Um, but John, my partner, he went to matches. It probably was something that his parents used to take him or things like that. So he got into football from a very young age and it's been in his blood and he persuaded me to get into football and to because that's what he watched. And so we got a season ticket and we got our season tickets and went to see Sunderland football team play every week and went to away games and things like that until we stopped in roundabout late 90s. We couldn't go
Mm,
as much. Yeah, because we were too busy and there were other commitments really. It was late 90s going on to the mid 2000s. I'm sure it was somewhere around there.
mhm,
Um, I'm an ambassador now for the Sunderland for the Foundation of Light, which is a connection to the um, football club, where they just help people within the Northeast and they help out the elderly, the young people. They encourage them to go along and learn things, and they help them with all kinds of things like trips here and there when they cannot afford it. It's people who are probably disadvantaged within the community, and they do a lot of charity work. And I'm an ambassador, and I'm very honoured to be of assistance or to be asked to do such a thing. Yeah, it makes a difference. So yeah,
That's lovely that you could help people and lift
yeah,
them in their lives.
yeah.
With the,
Everybody needed it, and I had a club, a youth club that I used to go to when I was younger. When you can't afford to do any other thing, you are so appreciative of all of those things, that the amenities that they make available for you when you're younger.
yeah. And kids need that. They need that positive
They need to
place to
know
be.
somebody cares, and that everybody's not just for themselves, and that they'll help them in many ways. So, and they do need it. They do need the help.
Mhm. Well, this has been amazing, and you're such a light. I love talking to you about everything.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
you.
I love talking to you. Thank you very
Uh,
much.
Before you go, would you be able to do one of those IDs for me? Like,
Sure, yeah.
I'll hold
I
this
might-
up so you can.
Oh, you're gonna hold it up. Oh, that's good.
It makes it easier for
Nos-
you to
Nostalgia.
remember.
Dope Nostalgia podcast. Yeah, okay.
So whenever you're ready,
So what do I say? Then you say, hi, I'm Tasmin Archer, and you're watching. Is it
listening.
what? Listening. Okay. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
I will do. Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye now.
You can follow Dope Nostalgia on Instagram at dope_nostalgia and YouTube at Dope Nostalgia Podcast. Call and leave a message on our voicemail toll free. The number's 1-888-741-9192.
This podcast is licensed by SOCAN because we believe that artists should be paid for their work. Hey, friends. I kind of miss getting those messages on my answering machine like we used to back in the day. What I'd really love is to hear from you, the listeners of Dope Nostalgia. This is your chance to be on the show, giving feedback, telling us what you love, what you hate, and who you'd like to see more of. Call us at our new toll-free number, 1-888-741-9192. Leave us some feedback. Your message could be played on the show. So give us a call, 1-888-741-9192. Toll free.